Good morning, I'm Rick Wade, and this is SPI News. Today, I'm joined by Frank Galvan, a candidate for Laguna Vista City Council. These conversations are part of our commitment to give voters clear, direct access to the people asking for your vote. Mr. Galvan, thank you for being here this morning. Let's get started.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me.
Please, well, it's nice to have you, sir. Please introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for office in Laguna Vista.
So my name is Frank Galvan. I grew up here in Port Isabel. I graduated Port Isabel High School in 1997. Shortly thereafter, I joined the Marine Corps. I was gone for 23 years in the Marine Corps. I retired in 2020. And when I moved back here with my wife to raise our kids, I'm on my second marriage. So my two older kids are here with my ex-wife. So that was a big part of our reason to move here, was to be closer to them. And the reason I'm running is just I see a lot of what people would call corruption happening, and we've been targeted by the city as well. So I know firsthand what it feels like, and I've talked to the people that it's happened to, and I just don't agree with it. Growing up here, I don't remember that stuff happening. But again, I was a teenager. I was in high school. I didn't pay much attention to it. So maybe it was happening back then. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? But bottom line is it shouldn't be happening.
Understand. What experience best prepares you to serve the residents of Laguna Vista?
So my time in the Marine Corps, I was an aviation mechanic. And during that time, I held a lot of billets. As you progress in your in the Marine Corps and you get more rank, more responsibility, that type of stuff. In aviation, it's a 24/7 operations. You're always trying to meet a flight schedule. As a maintenance control representative, I was basically in charge of the squadron. So again, I understand how it is to delegate different departments, different work sections on what needs to be done, what should be done, what needs to be accomplished, and then staying on top of it to make sure it gets done. So I'm able to delegate, and that was just in aviation. I held billets on the drill field as a drill instructor. I made my way from the bottom all the way to a first sergeant billet in 3.5 years. I did 3.5 years as a drill instructor. And then I ended up as a first sergeant in E8. So as a senior enlisted advisor, I'm tasked with advising my commander or the OIC, whoever it is that I'm under, on just the day-to-day operations and the discipline and integrity of our unit, making sure that our Marines are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I think that kind of helps me as far as understanding what's happening at the city, the different departments, their roles and responsibilities, how they execute them, and how I can help them execute those things. If they're falling short with equipment, material, they need more people, whatever the case, I'm well versed in getting people what they need to get the job done. So.
Sure. Well, that would lead us right into the question then. What are the top 3 issues you feel like are facing Laguna Vista at this time?
My first one would be transparency at City Hall. Just with all the grants and everything that's been awarded to the city, what are we doing with those grants? How much money was awarded with those grants? How long have we had those grants? And when do we plan on using that grant money to make the fixes that they were awarded for? The second one was the turnover ratio of employees at City Hall. I think that high rate of turnover is significant. It should be looked into. Why are we having that turnover? Why are people just coming in and then 2 months later they're leaving? To me, it might be a toxic environment. Who knows? But that's something we need to get to the bottom of. And then the last one would be the infrastructure. If you've driven around Laguna Vista, and we just had an issue back here on Palm Boulevard that lasted close to a year. And now we have another sinkhole over by Roloff Park at the corner. And if you drive down Ebony Street, there's some sinkholes there that are about to happen. There's some pretty big dips, and they just had a big sinkhole there maybe about 2 years ago, which was right in the center of the street. And it took a while to fix. So I think infrastructure would be my number 3 in that list.
Gotcha. So growth is a major issue in town. I know a lot of my neighbors feel like growth is coming too fast and a little bit too quick at times. It's all around us. How should Laguna Vista manage new residential development while protecting its small town character?
I think by attacking it responsibly, we're building houses upon houses, but the infrastructure, like I said, it's falling to the wayside. If we do it responsibly, I would say like maybe, and this is just a suggestion, this is just me thinking off the top of my head. If we build 30 to 50 houses, well, what kind of amenities are we adding to that? And have we talked to the water district, any of those utility companies? What kind of stress is that going to put on our local environment here or local community, I should say? Because right now, Corpus Christi is going through a pretty bad drought, and it's going to trickle its way down here, which we're already feeling it. We're already on a stage 2 water restriction. I think those are the responsible things that we need to look at before we start building houses upon houses. I understand, SpaceX, LNG, all these things are coming to Brownsville and right here on 48. But if we're not doing it responsibly, what are we going to leave for our kids? It's going to be a cesspool here in a few years if nothing gets taken care of. The pollution, all that stuff, it needs to be addressed. I'm not saying it's happening, but from what I hear, what's going on in Brownsville, they're not happy with a lot of the stuff that's going on. So I just want to be proactive and make sure that we're doing it responsibly.
Sure. And in keeping up with our time constraints here, I'm going to move to question 6. You covered question 5 and pretty much your discussion of the infrastructure. So as we saw in the League of Women Voters Forum on the 13th of this month, residents have raised concern about transparency, trust, and communication from Town Hall. What specific changes would you support?
I'd like to suggest a meeting after our city council meeting, just an informal meeting, just like we had at the forum, where we sit down with the residents, we discuss what was talked about on the agenda for that city council meeting, and see what the residents took away from it. Are we meeting their needs? Are we answering their questions? That's one way I feel we could be transparent, is just having an informal discussion with the residents who are involved. And I would encourage more residents to be involved, especially with the way things are going right now.
I understand. So what town programs, what services and projects do you believe are working well right now in Laguna Vista and should continue?
That's working well. The library had a lot of good programs. Honestly, I don't think anything is being run well, but I can't say that firsthand. I mean, I know there was Marty Etheridge that was working at the library, and it was on the upswing. They were doing great things for the community. They had programs set up and events, and then they kind of forced her out after they forced Miss Pura Mireles out, and then Liz Baldwin retired. So there's a lot of stuff that we could do, and whether we're doing anything well right now, I'm just not seeing it. I wish I was. The improvements are just now happening because it's election time. And what are those improvements? If you walk around, those improvements are, they added dirt to the track at the park, and then we got rain and it all got washed away. So,
okay. So based upon that, what is one thing you believe the current town government has handled poorly, and what would you do differently specifically?
I think the grants, the money that we've been awarded from the state to fix whatever it was that those grants were awarded for. I know the fire department had one, and they were supposed to order stuff, and now that turned into a big scandal, saying that there were some SCBAs that were ordered, and nobody can find the order information. So again, transparency. What are these grants for? What are we using them for? How long have we had them? And when are we going to utilize that grant money to get what we requested it for?
Sure. So if elected, would you want to accomplish, or what would you want to accomplish in your first 90 days? And what would our residents realistically see change in that time frame?
It's hard for me to say like what we would accomplish in our 90 days. I'm just one person on the city council, and it takes the majority. So, but I would say for me, they would get transparency. If they had questions, they could actually approach me, ask me, and I would do my best to get them the information or the answers. I'm not one to shun them or just turn away, or they're like, I'm too good for them. Like this is the whole reason I'm running, is to represent them and get them the answers that they need, because I'm a resident too.
Great. So what is one thing, this is our last question, by the way. What is the one thing you would like voters to understand about you that may not come across in campaign materials or social media?
I think just my background, like growing up here, the work ethic that I was brought up with. When I joined the Marine Corps in '97, the saying back then was, you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And that's all I'm trying to do, is do the right thing. I'm not just going to sit back, complain and moan and gripe, whatever. I have the ability to do something, to make change, to make a difference. And that's what I want the people to know is, nobody else is, whether they're capable or not, or they don't have the time for it. I do have the time for it. And I just want the people to know that I want to represent them, and I want to bring our community back to what it was when I was growing up here, where you could ride your bike down the street without getting pulled over, or, you're riding your dirt bikes through the alleys and then have the cops pull you over when you're just trying to have a little fun. It's one thing to do it safely, but I just want the people to know that I'm here for them, and I want to speak for them and represent them well at City Hall, and hopefully make a positive change.
Thank you for your time today, and thank you for sharing your views with the community. And thank you for watching SPI News. Be sure to follow us for continued coverage of the Laguna Vista election and all local news across South Padre Island, Port Isabel, and Laguna Vista. This is Rick. This is SPI News.